Have you ever felt trapped in a cycle, facing the same struggles over and over again, wondering why God doesn't simply remove the obstacles? And the shocking truth is that these repeated trials are not random punishment, but a hidden classroom where God teaches lessons your heart has not yet fully learned, because 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 8 through 9, reminds us that Paul pleaded with the Lord 3 times to remove a thorn in his flesh. And God said to him, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." Revealing that even when prayers for relief seem unanswered, the divine purpose is to cultivate strength, humility, and reliance on His grace rather than your own abilities. And you must understand that encountering the same challenges is a divine echo meant to refine your character, deepen your faith, and awaken spiritual insight that only emerges through perseverance. And the enemy secretly whispers that repetition means failure, that your prayers are ignored, or that God has forgotten you. But the hidden reality is that every familiar struggle is a sacred invitation to look deeper, to surrender more fully, and to trust beyond what you can see. And Romans chapter 8 verse 28 reassures you that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, calling you according to His purpose, which means the discomfort, frustration, and even shame you feel are being transformed into tools for your spiritual growth. And the first insight is that repetition exposes unresolved areas in your heart, unhealed wounds, unlearned lessons, and weaknesses that must be surrendered before you can advance. And this is why God allows you to face the same trials again, because without this refining, your faith would remain superficial, your character incomplete, and your reliance on Him fragile. And the second insight is that repeated struggles are training grounds for spiritual resilience, teaching you to stand firm when life's storms return, to lean on God's promises when circumstances seem unchanged, and to recognize that your ultimate victory depends not on avoidance of hardship, but on faithful endurance. And every time you rise above a familiar difficulty, your trust grows, your wisdom increases, and your heart aligns more closely with God's will. And the third insight is that God's purpose in repetition is often redemptive. He's preparing you to minister to others, to empathize with those who walk similar paths, and to shine His light in places where understanding and compassion are desperately needed. And as Hebrews chapter 4 verse 16 reminds you, let us then approach God's throne of grace with confidence, so that we may receive mercy and find grace to help us in our time of need, which shows that repeated trials invite you into a deeper, more intimate reliance on His mercy. And this secret work is often invisible to the world, but profoundly transformative within your soul. And while you may be tempted to despair comparing your journey to others who seem to progress faster, Proverbs chapter 3 verses 5 through 6 warns you to trust in the Lord with all your heart and not lean on your own understanding, acknowledging Him in all your ways so that He directs your paths, which means God's timing, even in repetition, is perfect. And the fourth insight is that these recurring challenges are designed to teach you patience, discernment, and the subtle art of surrender, showing that God's grace is sufficient, not when life is easy, but when you are most aware of your limitations. And this awareness transforms weakness into power, discouragement into perseverance, and confusion into clarity. In every thorn, every familiar hardship, and every moment of frustration is a sacred tool secretly shaping your spiritual muscles, expanding your capacity to love, forgive, and serve. And the decisive challenge for you is to stop resisting these repetitions, to stop seeing them as meaningless cycles, and instead to embrace them as divine lessons, knowing that God is not absent, that His hand is actively at work, and that His purpose is to form in you a faith that cannot be shaken, a character that cannot be broken, and a life that will reflect His glory in ways you cannot yet imagine. And as you surrender to this process, the very struggles that once discouraged you will become testimony, proof of His perfect wisdom, and evidence that His power is made perfect in your weakness. And therefore, when the familiar trials return, do not dread them, do not resent them, but lean in, trust Him, and let His hidden purposes transform repetition into revelation, difficulty into discipline, and weakness into unwavering strength that will sustain you for the calling He has set before you.